I want you to, first of all, pat yourself on the back and take the time to thank yourself for becoming involved in a process for looking at your life. If there's ever time that we need to begin to stop and think and assess ourselves, that time is now. When you begin to look at the foreclosure rate that's going on in the country, and the foreclosures and the bankruptcies, and in addition to that, the violence and people losing their jobs, and the level of uncertainty and fear that people are feeling. And I think there's a level of stress in the air unlike anything we've ever felt before. And so just to take the time to think, to pause, and particularly not only looking at what's going on, but asking yourself the question, how's this affecting me? You know, we want to all become successful, but I've found that there's some success that's toxic success. What I mean is, you don't want to end up going after goals and dreams and neglect yourself. I want you to think about your goals and dreams and things that you want to achieve, and at the top of the list, I want you to put up there your strategy for being here. You've got to have your health in order to be here. So at the top of my list, and I'm suggesting you put it at the top of your list, your strategy, your game plan for being here. What are you going to do to take better care of yourself? That's one of the first things I want to ask you about. So I want you to think about your strategy for being here, and I want you to think about your goal for securing your life in your future. What's your plan? What's your goal? Because if you don't have a goal for being here is not a given. When I was a kid, we used to go to funerals of old people. I can't tell you how many young people whose funerals I've gone to. I can't tell you how many. And so, and there's something about between 40 and 60. I don't know what it is about that period in time. Between 40 and 60, if you're approaching 40, I can tell you, and you already know, life begins to intensify. Things happen to you, things happen to people you care about. Between 40 and 60, if you can make it through that period, you can take a deep breath, because most people don't make 60. Most people don't. And why? And I think it's because people just take it for granted that they're going to be here. So I want to share with you some goals and strategies as you think about your goals. I want you to visualize yourself having optimal health. Having your right mind. So I want you to think about your goals and dreams, and here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to say to yourself, it's possible. It's possible. And I want you to follow along with this process. As you think about your goals and dreams, I want you to write this down. I'm going to give you some strategies of maintaining this possibility mindset. I want you to write down mindset maintenance. Mindset maintenance. And I want you to think about your goals and dreams, and I want you to expand them. Why? Because it has been said that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. No, most people fail in life because they're just like I was for 14 years. They aim too low and hit, and many never aim at all. Not at all. They just go through life surviving. Someone said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. That how people live their lives is a result of their state of mind. It has been said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. So part of the process, number one, is expose yourself to positive messages. See what I'm doing right now, I'm distracting the story that's going on in your head right now. How you live your life, how I live my life, how all of us live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. And most of us are born into stories. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Your mind is a machine. You must program yourself for success. There's more in you right now that's represented in your bank account. There's more in you right now that's being reflected by your life right now. Your life is not a true reflection of your potential. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. There's a reason that my favorite book says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And as he continues to think, so he remains. In order for us to begin to break into that level of greatness that we have within ourselves, you have to make a conscious choice every day to expose your mind to positive messages. Write this down. Number one, listen to motivational messages every day, because faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. What it will begin to do is interrupt the story in your mind. It will override the story that you believe about yourself. It will distract all the negative thoughts that you have that's holding you back. Write down the goals that you want to achieve. Write them down, put them on a 3x5 card, and I want you to use King James Version Bible and Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. I want you to write that on one side of the card. On the flip side of the card, I want you to write down one major goal that you want to achieve. And you want to read that 3 times a day. 3 times a day. What are you doing? You're hypnotizing yourself. And you're dehypnotizing yourself. What you're doing is you are dispelling the myths and all of the spells that you're living under. I think that a poverty mindset is a spell. I think that people go so far, and because they're mesmerized by life, they unconsciously stop. And you have to break that spell by constant attention. So on one side you read your goal, that one major goal, 3 times a day. Then the flip side, you flip that scripture over. Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be given unto you. As you read that every day, 3 times a day, I can tell you, amazing things, breakthroughs will happen for you.
We as a culture value outstanding so much more than excellent. It's a joke. Excellent is a wimpy goal. Excellent sucks. Okay, good, you might as well go home. And poor, get ready for some pain. But you know what? You don't always start out outstanding, right? I didn't start outstanding. I'm not outstanding in everything. You start out usually poor because you're new, right? You're trying to figure it out. But you don't want to stay there too long. And then you get good, and then you get excellent. But I'll tell you what you can be outstanding with, always. You can always be outstanding in how you treat other people. You can always be outstanding in your level of commitment. You can always be outstanding in the amount of energy you put into something. And if you put those into it, it's only a matter of time before the skill sets match up and the rewards are there. And they are totally disproportionate rewards.
It's easy to believe when things are going our way. We're getting good breaks, our health is improving, our child is turning around. When you can see it, it doesn't take much faith. The test comes when you can't see any sign of what you're believing for. You're working hard, but doors aren't opening. You're praying, but the medical report isn't improving. You're doing the right thing, but your marriage isn't getting better. You know God put the promise in your heart. You know He gave you the dream, but there's no sign that it's happening. If you just saw a little improvement, if you just felt a little better, at least you would know that what you were doing was helping. But many times, before a promise comes to pass, you have to go through a season of silence where you're not seeing anything changing. You'll be tempted to think, is what I'm doing even working? Is my believing, my praying, my giving even making a difference? This is when many people get discouraged and give up on what they're believing for. But just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God is not working. Behind the scenes, things are changing that you can't see. God does much of His work in secret. You are where you are today, in part because of what you've been saying about yourself. Words are like seeds. When you speak something out, you give life to what you're saying. If you continue to say it, eventually that can become a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are prophesying your future. And this is great when we're saying things like, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I will accomplish my dreams, I'm coming out of debt. That's not just being positive, you are prophesying victory, prophesying success, prophesying new levels. Your life will move in the direction of your words. The scripture says we will eat the fruit of our words. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds. James said in the scripture, with our tongue, we can bless our life or we can curse our life. Many people don't realize with their words, they're cursing their future. Every time you say, I never get any good breaks, you just cursed your life. I'll never be able to afford that nice house. I'll never break this addiction. I'll never meet the right person. No, stop cursing your future. Sometimes the enemy doesn't have to defeat us. We defeat ourselves. Pay attention to what you're saying. Are you blessing your life or are you cursing it? Don't go around cursing your future. Start blessing your life. Prophesy good things.
When you're asleep, ladies and gentlemen, you need your dreams. I'm here to tell you that when you're wide awake, you also need your dreams. You must have your goals. You'll never make it as a wandering generality. You must become a meaningful specific. If you're going to work tomorrow because that's what you did yesterday, you're not going to be as good tomorrow as you were yesterday because now you're 2 days older and no closer to the goal which you do not have. You can't make it as a wandering generality.
Exposure will bring about conflict. Exposure will bring about disalignment and confusion. And can you imagine the pressure that's in him to live up to the expectations of the people around him? And can you imagine the pressure that's on you to live up to the expectations of people around you? The expectations of people will make you cut your hair. It'll make you grow your hair. It'll make you get your teeth replaced. The expectations of people will make you go back to school. The expectations of people will make you lose weight or gain weight. The expectations of people will drive you crazy. The pressure to be everything that everybody wants you to be is killing us. The pressure we put on ourselves because we don't want to face the disapproval of the people we love. What has God spoken about you that he has not spoke to you? And there you are, focused on what's in front of you. God always chooses somebody who is focused on what's in front of them. Because if you can't focus on what's in front of you, you can't focus on what's ahead of you. If you're not faithful over what's in your hand, you're not going to be faithful over what's in God's hand. Every time God ever called anybody, they were busy. They weren't laying on the couch watching soap operas. They weren't laying on the couch reading magazines. They weren't playing with gaming. They weren't sitting around. Every time God found anybody, they were focused on what they have. Some of you have decided, as soon as I figure out what I'm supposed to be, I'm going to focus. You'll never be anything. You got to focus on what's in front of you. Whatever is in your hand, focus on that. And if you focus on what's in your hand, your future will find you. Your future finds you. You don't find it. The courage to be yourself sets you in conflict with your environment because your environment is pre-described and predisposed for you to function in predictable ways. You'd be surprised at the things people do to keep peace. The jobs they don't take, the careers they don't pursue, the entrepreneurial pursuits they don't go after, the churches they won't attend, the religion they won't embrace, all just to keep peace because I want to be what you expect me to be, so you'll be quiet. Keep everything nice and keep everything neat and keep everything quiet. And all of you people who need everything to be nice and neat and be quiet have contorted yourself and distorted yourself into a mere caricature of who you could have been because you lack the courage to be your own person. I love you, but I gotta be me. You love me, but you gotta be you. You have to figure out who you really are aside from who you are expected to be and ask God to bless who you are because God does not even know who you pretend to be. Adam, where art thou? Doesn't mean you disappeared. It means you lost your identity.